winter pretty much. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. We are live, everyone, for a new episode of the Electrek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by publisher extraordinaire, Seth Wintraub. How are you doing today, Seth?
I'm good.
All right. This week it was kind of a slow news week. But we have a few very interesting stuff though that happened that we're gonna discuss. We have a new incentive from Tesla. We have Cybertruck first update, so the first significant software update. We have Rivian coming out with a bunch of options, which is going to be interesting thing to discuss. With the R2 coming also, and then we have the new Taycan that we're gonna discuss. The new Taycan, the 2025, 24 model of the Taycan that comes with some significant upgrades. That works worth discussing. Let me share my screen with you guys so that we can get into it. This one right here. All right. Let's start with Tesla bringing back the FSD transfer and free supercharging transfer incentive for existing buyers. So that first came out last year after owners basically begged Tesla to do the right thing and to enable people to transfer the FSD package, which they paid up to $15,000 for it, 19,000 Canadian dollars for it over the last few years. For the simple logic that Tesla never actually delivered what was promised on it, which is a self-driving system. There's still, you could argue that the Tesla has the feature complete system now and everything, but it's still not what was promised, which is no driver attention required, self-driving level 4, even level 5 was mentioned at one point, but I think we can forget about that. Anyway, so it was logical that if Tesla never actually delivered the feature that was promised, if you still believe that Tesla can deliver it, well, you can transfer your package to a new car. If you're due for a new car, some people like to upgrade their car every few years, every 5 years. I mean, at this point, you can have someone that updates their car every 6 years and could still get some use out of that transfer. So it's getting there, people. But Tesla always resisted that, which it kind of hurts me a lot because Elon always said that Tesla aimed to do the right thing, and I think that would be the right thing here. Instead, what happened is that Tesla finally flinched and finally offered it last year. When was that last year? Q3 of last year. But they didn't offer it as like, all right, let's now start doing this. It makes sense. We are still delayed in delivering on the feature. So in the meantime, anyone that wants to upgrade their car can transfer their package that way. And to be clear, like Tesla, you're not losing any. Tesla's not losing anything with that because you remove the package from the other car so when you sell that car used, they're gonna have to purchase it back if they want to. So obviously, less people are less likely to nowadays. But anyway, the only thing that it does really is that it validates the owner who went down and purchased that feature. It validates their decision to purchase that at that price because now the price went up. Well, not exactly. It actually went down last year for a little bit. That's another story. So it validates that for the owner, which is the right thing to do. And instead, what Tesla did is that they used it as a demand trigger. Elon said it was a one-time amnesty in Q3, and if you take delivery of a new car in Q3, you can transfer your existing FSD package to it. And he said it was a one-time amnesty, and then it's not coming back. So if you want to do it now, which created a demand lever for Tesla. A bunch of owners decided to go with it. At the time, at Electrek, a little bit more wary of Elon's comments these days. We did note that it might not be the last time that Tesla does that. And now they confirm that they are using this as a demand lever, so it makes sense that they would bring back that demand lever because why wouldn't they? Just to make Elon not a liar. we're past that now.
Much past that.
Yeah.
I like how he called
Elon,
it a
Tesla.
one. He called it
Tesla
a
was very
one-time-
willing to make Elon a liar and bring back this incentive for this quarter. There's still a time limit on it, so there's no change on that. There's still very much a demand lever that Tesla is pulling. Tesla owners would take delivery by the end of the quarter, by March 31st. get the opportunity to transfer the FSD beta FSD package, I should say, to the new car. Same thing for the supercharger incentive. So if you have a car with free supercharging for life, you can transfer that to a new car, and you can stack them up. So if you have a car that I've both, there's a few cars that I've both, but not that many. If you have two different cars like me, who has one that has FSD package and the other one who has free supercharging for life, you can transfer them both to a new car, and you don't even need to sell the car. Because my Tesla gives me peanuts right now for my Model S, for example. So I would like to keep the Model S because it's still running super well because it has a new battery pack in it. And you can just keep the car and transfer that to the new car, which actually the new car is going to get a lot more out of a free supercharging because the Model S, the original Model S, doesn't fast charge super fast. So I get more out of it. And also it's going to be my DD driver instead of my, I give my Model S to my parents right now who drive a little bit less than I do. So I get more use out of it. And then I get my Model 3, which has full self-driving, transfer that to the Model Y, and I get a Model Y now, brand new car with hardware 4, which I think more likely than the hardware 3 we could get eventually to level 4. So these are interesting incentive for people.
You're gonna hate it.
But yeah, it's kind of a bittersweet thing. Yeah, I'm glad that it's back. I'm glad that someone like me can take advantage of it. Some other buyers can take advantage of it. But at the same time, it kind of hurts me that Tesla is just, instead of doing the right thing with that, they are literally using their inability to deliver on a promised feature as a way to create more demand. It's both like business genius, but also ethically speaking, it's like pretty F up. What do you think, Zed?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing to do would be say, hey, if you want a refund on FSD, you can have it, and then move on and say, do you want it on the next car, or maybe you can wait and buy it as a subscription, which I think they still offer. That would be the right thing to do. But a second best thing, I guess, is like they know that they have all these people who are sitting on FSD that don't want to upgrade their car because they don't want to lose FSD, and they certainly don't want to pay $14,000 or whatever they're charging now for it for new FSD, which to me seems insane. Especially when if you're selling a car on the open market with FSD and without FSD, it may make like a couple $1,000s difference. It's not worth the $14,000 that people paid for it or you would pay for it new. So yeah, I agree. This is certainly a demand driver for Tesla. I'm actually considering it as well as you. Just some, you're not going to enjoy driving a Model Y around because the Model 3 is a much better car to drive. I'm just telling you that now. I have a Model Y. I don't enjoy driving it nearly as much as the Model 3. I'm actually thinking, my wife is not on board with this, but I'm actually thinking of moving to a Model 3 because we have the Rivian.
Yeah, you do have the Rivian. Yeah, it's different when you have
yeah, we have the big hauler, but my wife wants another 7. Well, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm also thinking of upgrading my Tesla situation because the FSD is in play again, and before that I was kind of stuck with the one that I had, which, I mean, I have to say, like, it's been fine. Mostly the drivetrain's been pretty great, but things, there's been some problems. Like my son slammed the door too hard, I guess, the back door, and it's like stuck closed now. And
really?
Yeah, it's a weird one. And there was something else that happened. I don't know. There's just like little things and it rattles and stuff like that. The panel gaps are always pretty bad. So I don't know. I would like to get a new Model Y, like one that's put together well, and maybe not the 4680s because of the charging stuff, but it seems like something that would be worthwhile. It just, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. Tesla also, I don't know if you've looked at their inventory stuff, but they're also marking down things like $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000.
Yeah, I saw that you just posted that. I mean, the Tesla in the inventory always has a discount of like 1,000 to 3,000, but I'll need to look if there's really like more to it now. I've looked mostly in Canada, to be honest, but with Canada, like I don't think they have like extra discount inventory right now, just because of the recent price drop, which resulted in the new incentive, especially in Quebec. So yeah,
Right.
for me,
Okay.
it's more why I'm looking at the Model Y right now, because I could use a little bit of a bigger car. I could use a tow hitch, and I'm getting a little
Mm,
bunch of new electric toys that require a trailer to move them around. So like that can be useful, and the hardware for like these things are what I'm looking at. And so obviously, I would be losing a little bit more fun of driving. My Model 3 Performance is super fun to drive. There's no doubt about it. But I would also, and I was also lose like, obviously acceleration and things like that. But I don't know. Maybe it's a trade up that would be worth. With my Model 3 right now, they gave me $30,900 for it. 2018 Model 3 Performance with 53,000 kilometers on it. So basically, with the new incentives, it would be like $30,000 out of pocket after trade in to get a new car, which is not a bad deal. It's 30,000 Canadian pesos. It's like 23,000 US, something like that. Not a bad deal.
yeah.
But
Our
anyway,
plan was to give the Model Y to our my in-laws, and you can actually still remove the FSD from that one and move it to a new one.
yep.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can keep the only thing they say is that the car needs to be in your possession in your account when you transfer it.
Yeah.
That's all. So you need to buy the Model Y, the new Model Y, before you give them to your in-laws, or if you actually transfer the car to direct Tesla account. That's the only requirement.
Here's a situation that might be interesting. What if somebody had a Tesla Model S with supercharging, free supercharging, and it was totaled? Could you buy that totaled car, get the free supercharging off of it, and then do whatever they were going to and give it back to them basically?
Yeah, I don't know if Tesla can. I mean, I'm sure they can figure out that it's total, but if it's in your account and it's listed as having free supercharging, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think it'd be fair. Um, yeah, because I mean, especially since you had that free supercharging and you're not able to use it now because your car is total and there's no equivalent to get on a new car, so it would be fair to transfer it to a new car.
Yeah, so I mean, if you find a Model S with free supercharging on it, bring a trailer kind of site, maybe it makes sense to buy that thing temporarily, get the free supercharging off of it, and then do whatever they, give it back.
Yeah, set it for parts, whatever. Yep. All right, moving on. We have the first significant software update for the Cybertruck. So the Cybertruck, for people who don't know, there's still like still limitation software wise. Like Tesla often does that. They bring the car to market and not fully adapted software is not fully adapted to it yet. So Tesla has a lot of different software now to maintain. It's not just the Model S anymore. Like Model S, Model X at least are pretty close, but still they have software differences to them. And then Model 3, Model Y also very close, but still software difference to them, especially since they've been different variation of each models. And now, yeah, the Cybertruck into the mix, it's getting a lot more complicated for Tesla software team to maintain all these different softwares and bring all the features on par across the lineup. For example, the autopilot is not, well, at least the auto steer, which is like the main feature of autopilot. Even though I would argue that cruise control, active cruise control, is also very important. It's not on autopilot on Cybertruck just yet, so Tesla hasn't adapted to it. Probably still gathering that data from the fleet in order to adapt the cameras and everything to the because the positioning of the cameras are different on the Cybertruck than on the other vehicles, obviously. So there's a lot of things like that are not there yet. Also, some room for improvement. Like you get more data from the fleet. You get a bigger fleet now, obviously, with the customer delivery starting. So you get more feedback and you're able to improve the software. And Tesla has, I mean, Ford CEO Jim Farley himself said it. Tesla has a big advantage over other automakers because of how deep their software goes, whereas they control all the subsystem inside the vehicles. They also have full software control over them. So it gives this opportunity to upgrade a lot of different things. And we get the first example for the Cybertruck here, which apparently gets improved ride and handling through a software update. It's always cool. Get a more I'm reading from Tesla's release notes now. Get a more consistent response on different road surfaces and greater comfort on rough and winding pavement in sport mode or when custom ride and handling is set to focused. Also expect reduced pitch and body roll in off-road mode. So this is pretty cool. Tesla has always set out for the Cybertruck to have a very versatile suspension system that's able to be comfortable with and without load, with and without towing, and on and off road. So it looks like Tesla is making some adjustment there to achieve that goal, which is cool. There's also.
Could you try again?
Oh, no. Siri is trying to get involved in this podcast here, but it's no. Shut up. Okay, I think it's off. No, stop. Weird. Siri, he's AI. Like, now I have like Siri, Google Assistant, Jim. No.
Don't say those words.
I have them all nowadays, so they all try to chime in. You also have more efficient charging with this update. Your vehicle now adjusts the power level of each DC charging station, so battery preconditioning when you're navigating to a charger, and then charging can be more efficient. So I'm not sure if that's like a non-supercharging station, like Tesla is now adapting to them, or if Tesla now didn't know before if your supercharger you go to is a 150, 250 station. Not sure.
I mean, it had to know that.
I would assume so. That's why I'm thinking maybe it's other non-supercharger DC station, but I don't know. There's also a bunch of other release in this update, but it's mostly all the stuff that was in the Tesla holiday update from a few months ago, from December. So it's stuff that just didn't make it to the Cybertruck yet, but if other vehicles already have it. So this is pretty cool. All right, on the bad news front for Tesla, it looks like they're preparing for a round of layoffs. So this is a report from Bloomberg this week that says that Tesla reached out to all its U.S. managers to ask them a binary question, whether is someone on your staff critical or not critical. That's it. So normally when a company does something like that, and especially when Tesla does something like that, it's because they're preparing for a round of layoffs and they want the manager to give them the people that cannot be touched, and they have to give a few options if there's going to be layoffs. So this is a bummer, really, because it's something that we've been keeping an eye on Electrek, because I do believe that Tesla's biggest strength has always been its ability to attract talent and to retain talent. And I know there's a bunch of Tesla naysayers right now that are laughing at me. Is like, oh yeah, really retaining talent? There's like been people leaving left and right. Sure, there's always some turnover, and I agree that there's been a bunch of like more high-profile departures lately, like Caperty and Zach and people very critical to Tesla. But for the most part, Tesla has been extremely good at retaining top talent. There's people that have been Tesla for decades at this point, and the Tesla always tops the list of like the most attractive companies to work for like student engineering, and so the next generation Tesla is always getting like the top new interns and all that, and then some of them are getting offers after that. So that's something to keep an eye on. And if Tesla, the morale is down in the company, if it becomes less attractive to work there, if the job stability is not there with like rounds of layoff, it can be a problem. And now it's starting to stack up a little bit because you have, we reported on the stock compensation being slashed last year. Then there was the annual pay bump following the performance review that was disappointing to a lot of people that reached out to us. And then it was confirmed by Tesla when they sent out an email saying that they were going to do a second review of the pay bump. Because they heard that the feedback was bad. But then that was delayed. We reported a few weeks ago. So this is becoming more. Now you add to that a possible round of layoff, which is, it's not great. Tesla always, to be fair, Tesla does sporadically do round of layoffs, and even as the company is profitable and grows and all that, so that can be weird for people. But for the most part, Tesla has justified that by saying that it's to counteract hyper growth, inefficiencies in hyper growth, because Tesla has grown its headcount super fast over the years, hiring tens of thousands of people every year. And when you do have a hiring effort that is so big, you will get some redundancies, some mishires that shouldn't have happened, and all that. So it's just going to happen, and it makes sense to just level it out with a round of layoffs every now and then. However, it made more sense before than it does now, because Tesla has started to slow down its headcount growth significantly. In 2022, Tesla grew its headcount by 29,000 people. So a lot more hires, and also just a bigger percentage of growth. In 2023, even though Tesla had more people, they just grew by 12,000. So it's basically a third of the growth in terms of actual new headcount, and even less so in terms of percentage increase of their total headcount. So Tesla is now less of an excuse of like, hey, we're growing so fast that we need to fix that at some point. That it's more like cost-cutting effort right now, really. But yeah, if we have people at Tesla that want to give us some insights, like maybe we're wrong, maybe the morale is like top notch at Tesla, or anything like that, like we'd love to hear from you anonymously or not. It's you to just to talk about this issue, because I think it's one of the biggest one. Like Tesla, if it loses its capacity to attract and retain talent, is just not the same company anymore.
And I know you have some inside sources there. Have they mentioned anything pro or con or about that?
Yeah, and especially after this article too, I had a bunch of people reach out to me about it, and that's why I'm asking if there is any contrary opinions to this, because both before that article and after that article, what I've heard from people is like mostly like, I've heard two things. I've heard the morale is down because stock options are down. The stock is down, so the stock options are less valuable. The pay bump was not there. Also, people are not as inspired by Elon Musk as they used to be. Is a lot more controversial. So having a leader that's more polarizing is not always great. And then I've heard also on the hiring side that it has become tougher for Tesla to hire. Tesla is now having to be a little bit more competitive in their offers, because people, it's not what it used to be. Like Tesla used to be able to offer less money to people, because people put more potential in the stock options. That's
Right.
not true anymore. So that's harder to sell to new hires. And also just on the pay level, Tesla has never been super competitive for the Bay Area specifically in terms of software. So that has been an issue, I've heard. And at the same time, people are just now not willing to take those pay cuts for the mission anymore, because I mean, the mission is still there, but it's just Tesla is not the underdog anymore. Like it's not like, oh, we'll show these ICE automakers what's done. Like that feel like it's been done a little bit, so it's a little bit less exciting. I know. I feel that at Electrek too. Like where we used to yell at all those other media organizations, like you should take AV seriously. Now it's like everyone is taking AV seriously, so it's like not exactly the same. But there's a bunch of factors like that I think is affecting the situation for Tesla. All right. Tesla has expanded its advertising effort. It's something new for Tesla advertising. We remember last year, just a few months really after Elon happens to buy a company that's heavily reliant on advertising, a shareholder asked him if Tesla would start advertising. And he said yes. It wasn't the first time that shareholders had asked him that, and it was always no. And now this time it was yes. Did I put the quote in it? Because the quote I thought was very interesting. Because obviously Elon hates advertising, or at least he hated all the way up to October 2022. Yeah. When he asked that, so I did find a quote and I put it here. He said, "It's indeed ironic. Twitter is highly dependent on advertising. Here I am, never really used to advertising before, and now I have a company that's highly dependent on advertising." This is kind of a like Elon being a little bit quirky. I'm not really used to advertising. It's more than that. You are on record saying that you hate advertising, and now I have a company that's highly dependent on advertising. I guess I should say that advertising is awesome and everyone should do it. Obviously, that was tongue in cheek, but it's ironic, but it's true at the same time. Like
Yeah.
just. And then seconds later, he's like, you know what? like I pride myself in taking feedback from my shareholders. So I'm gonna say yes, we're gonna start advertising. Has nothing to do with what I just said about me having a company bigger than. So for the most part, we all thought, okay, how long is it gonna take between the Tesla starts advertising and start advertising on X specifically? So we didn't take bets or anything, but we should have, because didn't take that long. Tesla only last summer, really, like a few months after that, they started advertising a little bit with some targeted Google ads, and then I think it was in November. There was video ads that they started to put out in November last year on YouTube's. It looks like it was like a small test or something like that. Now this week it looks like the big expansion. We got a bunch of reports from people on YouTube, on TikTok, and on X. So Tesla has decided to start advertising on X, which is controversial for a few reasons. Well, it's only controversial if Elon is involved, really, and you have to think that he most likely is, because also
sure.
I just mentioned YouTube, Google, TikTok, and X. What big advertising platforms are missing? Facebook and Instagram. So is it that sounds like Elon's hands is behind the puppet somewhere there, because Elon obviously hates Zuckerberg and Facebook and Instagram, and Tesla is not transferring any money for ad space there, but it is transferring money to X, which is kind of the problem, because now Elon has like a direct way to funnel money from Tesla to X. Obviously, I'm sure that there has to be reports on how efficient the ads are and all that, but it's still a bit controversial, because X is a
you
private
know he
company.
wants to send a lot of money there. You know he does. Like, it's just very clear.
I'm sure, and especially like the stats, the data on this, like you can play with those a little bit. Like it's easy to manipulate, easy to make it look better than it is. So I'm sure that right now Elon is thinking like, let's boost those ads on the X side of thing, like makes it look good. Like X is very good for Tesla, and to justify sending money there and like boosting the budget for ads, Tesla ads on X. Yeah, it's too easy to not be by the book here. It's too easy to have conflicts of interest, even breach of fiduciary duty. It's just too easy. And you know what? I have zero confidence in the Tesla board having any oversight over this. It's sad to say, but in one of the biggest company in the world right now, one of the most valuable company in the world, one of the most impactful company in the world, doesn't have a board that shareholders can trust to have oversight over that, because they didn't do anything when he started XAI, when he bought Twitter and transferred employee from Tesla to X. They didn't do anything when he asked for 25%, or he would move AI product from, or he wouldn't build AI product at Tesla and build this XAI startup instead. They let him, evidently now, and as per a court decision, they let him basically craft his own performance package and and presented at the board as if it was their brilliant idea. Just too much nonsense at this point. Just too much nonsense to let that one slip too. All right, we're going to move on from the Tesla stuff and talk about Rivian, Porsche. And then we're going to end on a very interesting note, too. We're going to come back to Elon. Not really Tesla related, but I still thought it was very interesting. And it's probably going to generate some discussion for you guys. So if you guys have any question for us, you can put it in the comment section right now. We're live on X, on Twitter. Twitter is X. On YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, too. I think we might be live on Instagram. We're live everywhere. On LinkedIn, so you can put the comments right now, and when they answer them, it can be about what we discussed today or anything else in the EV space that you want us to discuss when I get to them in just a few minutes. But now let's start about Rivian, that has added two or three new options. So two new base option, at least, for the R1S and R1T. It's a standard and Standard Plus battery packs. So these options are obviously cheaper. I think it brings the price down to $60-something thousand.
69,000 is the starting price for the R1T with the standard pack.
Yes, okay, $69,000 before tax credit. Obviously, it's not eligible to the tax credit too. Okay, yeah, 69. It's right there. It's a new standard battery pack. Gets you 270 miles of range, which is not bad. You have the standard plus that gives you 315, and then they changed the EPA on the max. Is that it? Because there's also a longer range option now.
Well, the max is that the new extra thing, which is controversial because it doesn't give you that much extra range. But yeah,
400 on the R1S, 410 in the R1T.
I don't know.
So this is an interesting move, obviously, from Rivian because it's on the eve of the R2 platform launching, which is going to be the cheaper vehicles built on that platform. Are we expecting more than one vehicle on the R1T being unveiled, right?
So nobody knows for sure. I think we know that there's going to be R2S because we've seen, the patent and the thing under the sheets. But I think I would love to see a R2T, which would be like a Maverick or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really cool product.
Yes, for sure. Well, obviously, the strategy here is very smart. Is that they're going to unveil that March 7th, right?
Yep.
So March 7th, in just a few weeks. And it's not going to come right away. It's going to take a year or two before the vehicles actually come to market. So it makes sense. In the meantime, like all the press, all the attention they're going to get on them for unveiling those vehicles. And people are like, we want them so bad. But they are going to be like, yeah, if you don't want to wait, we just launched cheaper versions of our bigger vehicles, the R1T and R1S, just for a few $1,000 more, probably like $10,000 more, realistically, maybe even a little bit more. You can actually get one right now. So obviously, this makes a ton of sense. A smart move from Rivian right here.
Yeah, they give you kind of like every tier that you could possibly want. Maybe even too many tiers. I feel like 3 tiers is
four is a lot, huh?
Yeah.
And 4, that's just the battery pack. After that, you have the motor configuration options, right?
Yeah, you can get quad motor. Although they've made the quad motor, they've neutered the quad motor, so you can't do like tank turns, and there's not a lot that you can do the quad motor, what you can't do with the dual motor. And the dual performance motor is so good, and it's more efficient. So it's like, and they only charge a small premium for the quad motors. I feel like they're gonna pull the quad motor at some point because just nobody would rather have, that little bit of extra performance and not the range and save money. So
unless you really want to off-road with it, which I don't know what kind of percentage of Rivian buyers really.
I would guess
off-road.
that in the middle of this year, I think the quad motor will be a very niche product, even if it's even offered at all.
Makes sense. We have Spike says I got a Tesla hat at the start of the YouTube stream today. Tesla advertises with Electrek.
All right, well done.
We just got a few cents from Tesla to Google to us.
It's very exciting.
Right now, I stopped trashing Tesla right away, and I start being a full
buy a Model Y.
Tesla again. Yeah, I'm buying a new car right now.
Get a Cybertruck. Get 2.
So I got this wrong. So this is the upgrade for the 2025, but it's announced now for the Porsche Taycan.
That'll be coming out the middle of this year, though.
Okay, so it's like it's gonna be an early model year. Yeah.
It's
normally like 2025 would be the end of the year, but this summer, it's coming out this summer. Okay, so what's new on this? You have it's quite a significant update. So you have more performance here, like it's significantly more performance for the base version, the rear-wheel drive Taycan Turbo. You get from 4.5 to now 4.5, and it used to be 5.1, so 0.6 seconds shaved on that 0 to 60 miles per hour time. It's significant. You have this new feature called push to pass function in the Sport Chrono package. I never liked that. There's a few Porsche
I
has
agree.
done that, Audi has done that. Never been a fan of like you activate that and for 10 seconds you have a 70 kilowatt boost, so you can go faster. It's like
Just give it to me whenever I want it. Whenever I
exactly.
put
Why?
make the button the bottom of the floor of the pedal. You know, like I'll hit the button when I hit the
Yeah.
floor, that'll hit the button, and then I'll go. You know,
That makes this brilliant engineering set.
thank you.
Just remove one part, remove one input. Elon should hire you. Every input is an error.
Yep.
You have faster charging, 320 kilowatt charging now, peak charging. So if you do
The
have
charging
finest
is
speed,
impressive.
yeah, it was already great at 270. Now 320, it's another 50 kilowatt higher peak. Obviously, peak is always, we try not to focus too much on that because normally you achieve the peak for just a few minutes max, and then it tempers off. But this is still good. Like more is better on that. We
And
also improve
the charging curve on this is pretty impressive too. It
yeah.
hits over 300 until 60% almost.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're talking 0 to 60%. You're charging at 300 kilowatt hours. So that 300 kilowatts. Sorry. So I mean that's really impressive.
They also improved the charging on the 400 volt network. So it should optimize the speed on that because obviously you're not going to always charge at 800 volt. You're going to try to, obviously. The battery pack now on the Performance Plus battery pack option is bigger at 105 kilowatt hour instead of 93. So that's nice. There's more power on the rear axle motor now and another 80 kilowatt more. A next gen heat pump, so for cold weather climates, it's going to be nice. It's going to be a little bit more efficiency out of this, on top of having a beta battery pack is an option for a beta battery pack. More standard features like lane change assist, ambient lighting, Porsche intelligent range manager. The range manager was not standard. A new cooling system and more. So those are now standard feature. A little bit to change in the front styling here. I'm not familiar enough with the Taycan interior to point out the big differences.
Yeah, I mean it's
here.
got a new screen on the right side. The intelligent, we saw the intelligent range manager when we were at the Macan event, and that's just really a smart way of like it figures out which stations you should charge at, and you can even tell it like, hey, I want to eat dinner. Like you can have like chargers with restaurants or fast chargers and if they're full and a lot of inputs into there, so it's pretty smart.
Nice. New interior options, black and slate gray. Pricing, the new pricing here. So now the Taycan starts at $99,400, and then it goes up fast. If you want the 4S,
Really fast.
you're already at 118. If you want the turbo, you're at 173. If you want the turbo S, you're at 200,000. And then basically do the same thing for the Cross Turismo version, but add $10,000, which is crazy.
I like how they're not even pretending like they want to try to get under the the 80,000 price. Not that this is an SUV or anything, but it just
I don't know if the Cross Turismo would qualify as
I don't
one,
think
but
so.
No.
Although it's certainly heavy enough.
Yeah.
211,000 is the top, and that's the starting price. That's before you start doing the options and stuff.
Yeah, and Porsche loves their options.
Yeah, so you're talking about a $250,000 car.
Oh yeah, it's a rich person's car. Like I remember, I was there when they launched that thing. I was sick as a mule in Niagara Falls. They did the crazy unveiling with the falls behind. It was awesome. I was like, oh, I want that car so bad, and I had my Model S back then, and I looked to upgrade, and I was like, because these are U.S. prices and Canadian prices. Like the one that I configured one, and it was like $250,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
geez.
They're so the cars are so nice though. Like
they're nice.
Really well put together. They just feel great. They just go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would seriously consider one day. Like if the supreme leader ever decides to deliver the roadster, and we do get our roadster. And I'm not putting any weight on that. I'm talking about like a dream scenario here. And I would love to drive a roadster. Obviously, I would give it a shot and everything, but I seriously doubt just how I would do with a car that's just that crazy and that expensive too. It would freak me out. I'm not used to driving like something like $300,000. Uh, I would maybe like sell that and buy like, the Boxster looks pretty cool. The new Boxster from Porsche coming, the Boxster Electrek. That could be something very interesting, I think.
I agree.
And that, I mean, if it follows Porsche's existing lineup, it should be significantly cheaper, I would think.
Right.
Would be a nice weekend car, going like a little road trip.
You know
I
what?
love a convertible.
Not that you mention it, like this is a pretty big price increase. Like that you could get an old Cross Turismo for, like 80,000. This is like a $30,000 price bump. The old Taycan starting price was in the 70s, I thought, for just the rear
Yeah,
wheel
the
model.
original, yeah. Yeah, but they had so many changes to like the options, the packages and all that. They have the Taycan 4S, Taycan Turbo S. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I guess
And now
the
I got it confused because you can have a Turbo S with rear-wheel drive.
really?
That's what they said here, unless it was our mistake here.
I think the Turbo S is all-wheel drive.
Oh no, it's just you can have a Taycan Turbo that's rear-wheel drive, not the S. Yeah, the S is the
Okay.
top performance one. Because I was surprised, like even that gets 4.5 seconds. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, everything on this looks amazing except the prices. The prices, I guess I guess Porsche's like, look, we're so much better than everybody else. We're just going to charge whatever. And of course,
I
you can get
mean,
a Model S and all those things, but
I mean, they are well. They have a lot of experience selling a very expensive car, like the
Right.
GTR 3 and all that. Like these cars are top notch and very expensive for a reason, and they are in high demand too. So, all right. This was an interesting poem. I'm putting in there because it was one of the most popular articles this week, and I thought it was interesting because it sort of gave me like a little bit of hope for a second. But Elon obviously couldn't stay away from Twitter all week and killed that hope for me. Do you like that image? It's an AI generated image, and I made myself laugh because I wrote this post here, which the headline is. Not clickbaity at all. It's extremely factual. Elon Musk introduces his new right-wing fans to a carbon tax. Goes as well as you expect. And I was like, what do I use for a feature image on this? And I'm like, especially my girlfriend introduced me to Mid-Journey, and I've been using it a lot more now. I'm like, let's try to see if Mid-Journey can produce me an image of that. And I don't know how familiar you are with this, but you have to like play with the prompt that you give it to try to get something that makes sense.
And it goes through Discord, right?
Yeah, it goes to like the Discord thing is not ideal for that, but the way that you write the prompt is the most important thing. So the AI needs to understand what you're trying to achieve. So this one, I was like, I had no idea what to do. So I was like, I literally gonna go with the headline. I was like, Elon Musk explaining a carbon tax to a crowd of right-wing fans. That's literally what I wrote. That's literally what I got. It's just pretty good because, I mean, obviously, like the people look like they are a fan of him and like, yeah, and everything. He looks like he's explaining something. And then the carbon thing, I guess they are showing it with the fire in the back. I thought it was so cool. I don't know why. Anyway.
It kind of reminds me of that, what is that end of the world movie with Z?
World War Z?
Yeah, that seemed like, the one with, I think Brad Pitt was in it or something.
That's World War Z.
Yeah. Like
that scene in Israel where the zombies try to get over the wall.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what's the situation here? So, Elon obviously has made a lot more fans on the right side of the political spectrum in the U.S. in the last few years for a bunch of different reasons. reinstating conservative voices on Twitter has helped him being a hero of free speech and the right at the same time. And he's aligned himself a lot more with the political right in the US, simply like objectively speaking here, by just looking at what he posts on X. He laughs a ton at the Democrats, with reasons. A lot of the time, he says stupid things and he highlights them, but he doesn't do it with Trump. Who's, you can like him or hate him, he also says a lot of stupid things. And just that, if you become a political commentator, which is what basically Elon is becoming right now, you have to look at what they highlights and what they don't highlight, and what they don't highlight can say as much as what they do highlight sometimes. So he's has aligned himself with the right in that sense. But this week, or last weekend, really, he decided to post about a carbon tax into his exact words. So someone posted like a cut of what he said before about a carbon tax, that he think it would be a very impactful. And then he said the only action needed to solve climate change is a carbon tax. Everyone does that on X. Like this, I do that all the time too. I double the things. I don't know. It's the way that the editor is put. I always double words like that.
No, he's not like signaling ISIS or anything.
No, ISIS is institutions, investor services, and all that. That's ISIS for him. All right, so I clicked on. I was excited. I'm like, oh, nice, Elon talking about climate change for a change, instead of the immigration crisis and the woke mind virus and all that. That felt at the old Elon Musk. So like, I'm wondering how his new right wing fans are taking this push for a carbon tax. And I went into the comments. Oh, yeah, I don't. I cannot show most of the comments, but I went in the comments. Okay, I had to go down 50 comments to see a positive one. Like, obviously, right now his profile is very overtaken by these conservative people, and they laughed at him. Like they said, like, if any tax is theft, and next is a tax on air we breathe. It's all literally just. And these also, I only picked the top ones here, like the most upvoted ones. So to get this is a bummer.
Why is
the
that?
ones
Why
that a carbon tax won't achieve anything because China won't participate. We're gonna get into that because that's actually a decent point, but I think you need to go further than that. Obviously, some climate denier stuff too. I don't like this the way it's the CO2 narrative is a lie. So there was all that. I literally had to go down 50 comments to see it. So there's a few things on this. I tweeted out after this, like, this could be interesting because this whole Elon Musk going to the right things could be worth it if he can actually use his newfound fame in the right wing spectrum to push a carbon tax. And if that works, I think that might have been all worth it, because I do agree with Elon that a meaningful carbon tax is the most impactful thing that you can do for to curb climate change. Obviously, and actually, it's also something that should be easy to sell to conservative, because most conservative are free market. Well, I mean, there's been like it's convoluted at this point, but like free market conservative at least, or for a free market. And a free market only works if you account for external costs. So it needs to be fair. It needs to, all the externalities needs to be accounted for. Otherwise, it's not a free market. And burning carbon, burning fossil fuels and releasing carbon into the atmosphere as a cost. And if it's not reflected in that product, in the cost of that product, it becomes an inefficient market, and your market fails. And that's what we have right now. So a carbon tax fixes this inefficient market and allows for a true cost of the products to be accounted for. And then the products that are the best overall, so the best product, also the best for the environment, do end up on top. It's as simple as that. So it should make sense. Obviously, it only makes sense if you do believe that the releasing of carbon in the atmosphere has an impact on the environment. I think it should be quite clear. I know like people always need every single scientist that ever lived don't agree on that, obviously, but the vast majority of them do. I like this chart always, unless you're like a flat earther and you believe that NASA are a bunch of liar and everything. This data is coming from NASA, and it's pretty simple data. It's the temperature on Earth, average temperature, how it's been rising a lot in the fossil fuel era, especially the internal combustion engine era. It's been rising consistently. While the solar irradiance, because that's the thing that conservatives often use, they say, yeah, I mean, the Earth has always been cooling, warming, cooling all the time and everything. Yes, but during that period where we see temperature rising like crazy, the solar radiance, which is the amount of sun that we get on Earth, has not changed. It's the same. Well, actually went down, actually, but that's part of the natural cycle of the sun. So yes, the cycle of the sun has affected Earth, and also but the amount of carbon in the atmosphere is also affecting Earth. And now that we're releasing a lot more of it, which is there's no doubt about, it's not something controversial to say, it has increased the temperature on Earth. So at the very least, we can all agree, I think, on the fact that products that emit less carbon over the entire lifetime, so that accounts for like battery pack production versus burning gasoline inside your car, products that do less of that are less risky in this weird experiment that we have of pumping a bunch of carbon into the atmosphere. So why not go and why not incentivize the less risky products? It's as simple as that. But obviously, every tax is theft and all that. The real problem set is the name, right? It's like a carbon tax, but it's a good name though. It's what it is. It's a tax, but
here's what they should do:
the Republican a tax and they freak out.
They need to tax it or whatever you want to call it at the well. If they tax it at the well, then you're not seeing like at the gas pump. You're not seeing, hey, there's a $4 tax on this, and you tax it at the well at a rate that is so what I would say is like, all right, let's figure out the best carbon capture in the world, right? Whatever the best carbon capture in the world, take that, whatever it costs to capture carbon, that's how much the tax is. So if you can capture carbon at $4 per ton or whatever, that's what the tax is. And if you do that, then it's solved. Like, do it at the well, charge it everywhere on Earth, and that's it. I mean, I agree with Elon in this case. Like, it's very simple.
Yeah, no, it is simple. If again, there's layers to this. There's what I just discussed. We need to agree that there's an impact. That's the difficult part. And maybe Elon should work on that before introducing to his right-wing fan the carbon tax. Maybe he should work on the convincing them that humans releasing an insane amount of carbon into the atmosphere has an impact on the environment. I mean, for people that don't believe me, like, just start your car in your garage for a little bit and tell me there's no impact.
Do it for like 2 hours.
Yeah, do it for like 2 minutes.
No, don't do it. Don't do it all. We do not condone starting cars in your garage.
Killing yourself in your garage with car. But I mean, if at least if you know that that's a thing, you should like. One thing that we should agree on at least is like air pollution is a real thing. Like, you've seen it in every major city. If you go to India, if you go to China, and that's the other point. So that's the other one. All right, what is it worth that we do it in the U.S. and Canada and the Western world if China, if India is not going to do it? It's true. You create yourself and you put yourself in a less competitive situation if you don't do it in the short term. So I think there's a few aspects to this. It's like, do you want to be part of the problem because not everyone is part of the solution? Or you want to be part of the solution? You should ask yourself that in the first place. So when you say everybody else is not doing it, so we shouldn't do it, you are agreeing to be part of the problem because you don't want to be a leader in finding the solution. So that's just a loser mentality, in my opinion, to start with. Is America as a loser mentality? I don't think so.
I would also say, like, you could tax China at the border. So, like, if China decides, hey, we're not going to, we're going to send all this carbon in the air, be like, all right, that's fine. You get charged 50% tax because you're sending all this carbon. So we're charging that, that carbon gets taxed anyway. So I think if we did that, then China would probably get on board, or at least make an effort.
which they are doing anyway.
Yeah, which they might be doing it better than we are.
And that
In
brings
some
me to my
cases.
second point on that front is that if you don't do it, then you're going to be a lagger in the new clean technology, like electric vehicles, like solar, like all that. And China doesn't want to be a lagger in that, and they are not. They are leading the way. So if you're not early in it, then you're not going to own the manufacturing power for that stuff and everything, and you're going to fall behind economically anyway. So you're going to be a loser anyway.
Yeah, and we know that's the future. Like there's just no future for fossil fuels.
No, it's literally a finite resource. So at one point it's going to end. So why not end it sooner so that we have a less risk of a major impact on the environment?
Yeah,
I'll always like to point out risk instead of actual like doomsday scenario and everything, because at least you have to admit that there's a risk, because you don't know what this experiment of pumping carbon in an atmosphere is going to exactly do. No one does. We have a pretty good idea that's probably not going to be good. But
yeah, it's
no
not
one knows
looking
exactly.
good. Not
So why
looking
not
good at all.
reduce risk? We reduce risk in everything we do in life. Like why we don't do it with that? Like why we're conservative people? You're conservative. Let's conserve. Like let's be conservative with the environment.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was very interesting. But then, so I thought, oh, maybe this is like Elon coming back to his normal self and everything. But no, after that, he went on the whole Twitter rant about Disney replacing Johnny Depp with a black actor, and I was like, who gives it?
Oh God.
Oh,
I miss the old Elon. I miss
me
the carbon tax stuff. It was kind of
yeah.
threw me back into the old days.
Mhm.
All right, into
All
the
right, let's jump into
questions.
the comments.
All right, how long would it take GM to pivot to a new battery chemistry like LFP, or could they even do that? I think they've already said that the Bolt is going to be LFP, the new Bolt.
Yeah.
So we'll see, like a couple years probably.
Yeah, not easy exactly, because
Yeah.
they do partly own the cell manufacturing, so they're not completely cell agnostic.
Yeah, I mean, they have the things with LG and other companies. So, all right, this is for you, Fred. Did you really declare level 5 dead? Is Robotaxi in the coffin too?
I don't see any chance of Tesla delivering level 5 autonomy on any other current vehicles. It just doesn't make sense to me, because level 5 is anywhere, anytime, any condition.
Yeah.
If you've used autopilot or FSD in cold climate, in the snow, in the slush and all that, like I do every day in Quebec, you know for a fact that's just not happening. Like in a drive here between Shawinigan to Montreal right now, I'll get half a dozen alerts of like, hey, this camera is like has a little smidge of something on it and everything. Can I do it? Like, these are hardware problem. Tesla is only focusing on improving software. Well, no, that's not true. They're also improving hardware, but they are promising the features on the current hardware. And so I don't think the current hardware can support level 5. Maybe level 4. Yeah, level 4. You can have a robotaxi service on level 4, I would think. It's just that service is going to shut down.
Yeah, I mean,
Snows.
Waymo would be considered level 4, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Waymo cannot operate anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, they can do it in nice, warm, cities that don't rain a lot. All right, Jersey John from Twitter. I mean, X says Elon robbing Tesla to pay Twitter is a nice graft. I believe he means grift, but maybe he means graft. It's a graft too, sort of grafting money from one to the other. FYI, I got a Tesla ad at the start of the YouTube stream today. That is great. They are good ads.
Yeah, I'm sure Tesla could be very good at advertising. I ultimately, like, I'm not against Tesla advertising. I think it's very good, because I don't think the price war right now and the price drop are sustainable. Like we've seen, I just reported today on like SAP not buying Teslas anymore because in their fleet, because the price go down too much, and EVs are super attractive to fleet manager, and fleet managers buy a ton of cars. They helped Tesla a lot in the last few years. The Hertz helped Tesla a lot. Autonomy helped Tesla a lot. They bought tens of thousands of Tesla vehicles over the last few years. But for them, what's attractive with EVs is like the cost of ownership over a lifetime is so much cheaper because of fuel savings. But fuel savings is one thing. resale value is also super important for them because they do resell them. And if Tesla is crashing that by keep reducing the cost, they're screwed with that. So there has to be a way for Tesla to have. I'm still good with price going down. Obviously, I think that's good, but it needs to be a lot more stable than Tesla just.
Right.
It's
I
not good
think
for
that's
business.
actually what kind of killed the deal with Hertz as well. Like they were really
Yeah,
frustrated about the values of their cars.
yeah.
I mean,
I
every
mean,
time he lowered the price, the whole fleet went down quite a bit.
yeah, they were
But
looking at their charts and like, shit, shit, it's just terrible.
yeah,
But yeah, and advertising is like a potential solution to that. So instead of spending on reducing the price of the vehicles, so losing money on there, you use that money to try to sell it to people that can buy it at the current price, but they're just not convinced for whatever reason. Obviously, it's easier to just reduce the price, but there is an opportunity here to get Tesla's name. And a lot of people don't know about Tesla's great features and don't know about the price of the car right now. They think that you drive a Tesla, you're a millionaire. It's just bought $100,000 car. When
yeah, and the gas savings and everything.
yeah,
There's a lot to get the word out.
yeah.
But moving on. Question: how can Rivian keep charging an astronomical price for the Max Pack? It should be a $3,000 increment. I agree. I think Rivian maybe have overpriced that tier. I think it's like 5 or even more, $1,000 extra, and you only get an extra 23 miles or something like that. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's for those people that they're towing or they're in Alaska or something where they really need every single watt hour of power. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the max pack pricing option, but yeah, I would agree that sometimes the automakers they don't make sense. That they try to they know, especially for Rivian, because it's a luxury vehicle to a degree, and it's in terms of the R1T, it can be like a work vehicle too, and you want that longer range, so to make people pay for it. So
Yeah, maybe they don't have a lot of batteries right now, so they don't want to sell more than they can make.
yeah, you can
Well,
sell more cars with smaller batteries. Yeah.
all right, question. Will they end Model S after Performance Model 3 is out? I think that's a no.
No, definitely not.
Twitter is all that saves us from Western collapse.
Yeah,
Putin.
yeah, yeah. So this is interesting. So Elon tweeted that today, yesterday or the day before. Chuck Cook, I think like the guy that does like the left turn, that always does the left turn with FSD, the FSD beta tester. Big fan of Elon, huge fan of Elon. He tweeted yesterday that he muted Elon because he's tired of his political commenting and all that. Then someone else responded to that comment, explaining that, saying that, first of all, it was mean, this comment, when you look at it, because he basically claimed that Chuck Cook or anyone that criticizes Elon right now do it because of money. They do it because they are in Tesla just for the money, because they are shareholders or whatever, like, and that Elon is looking beyond that money. And then even if you are in that in for the money, you should still be pro Elon, because, and I'm quoting here, Elon is doing everything right, and he's doing it to save the US. He's doing this to save the US, because if you don't save the US, there's not going to be an FSD anymore. There's not going to be Tesla shares anymore, and all that. And then Elon responded to that with a single word, and that word was exactly. And so that's Elon's state of mind right now. He thinks that he's doing everything right. He's showing that he's saving the US by shaming Disney for being too woke, because Disney is ruining the entire world because they are going too far in the DEI. I'm the first to admit, like, yeah, yes, there's people that are pushing the DEI too much. There are people that are going too much with extreme wokeism and all that. I don't see it as a major threat to the US or to civilization, Western civilization. Yeah. It's always balanced itself out for a while. Like, there's always some extremes, and then it goes back and everything. Like, if Elon and the crazier thing of all that is like thinking that you can fix that. Like, I don't think you can fix that with some tweets or suing Disney. It's
All right,
wild.
Eric Hahn says, why would China need our carbon tax? They already had way ahead of us on moving into the electric future. They are doing a lot of coal burning though. So
Yeah, still are. They are moving fast in the solar too. They are building giant solar plants, but yeah, they're still burning a ton of carbon.
yeah, and this is a good point. You can't expect other countries to reduce carbon emissions if you won't do it yourself. That's kind of a
Yeah,
yeah,
you want to be a positive leader.
good example. And now Elon advertises on Electrek. That's
Let's
what
go. I'm full Elon
yeah,
fan now. As soon
yep,
as he put $1 in my pockets, I switch.
yep. It would be nice if Elon was more right wing, but he is neither left or right wing. Okay, okay, that's interesting. So the fanboys are raving about version 12. Is it any different? Do you have version 12? No, nobody who's not a fanboy has gotten version 12, but
Yeah,
version 12,
that's the point. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're still super limited right now. It's just they were promising a wider release for a while, but they still have not done the wider release.
Troy from X posted the impotence of the price cuts, and people flipped out. Okay,
Okay, I'm not sure.
yeah, I
And
don't know what that means.
Bubble says that Elon is not against immigration; he's just against illegal immigration, which is everyone's stance. So
Yeah,
there's no one that's like pro illegal immigration. Like
right.
everyone agrees that people should go to a port of entry. The that's not what's at stake with the immigration crisis. The only thing that's at stake is how do you handle the illegal immigration. That's completely different. Um, anyway, we're not going to solve this on Electrek.
No, we're not.
But I appreciate every single one of you that listen today to the show, that listen every week. We appreciate you. If you do enjoy the show, you can do a few things that are free to do to help the show. One of them is to just click that like button, click that share button. That helps a ton. You can subscribe and hit the notification button to know when we go live. We go live every Friday at 4 p.m. But sometimes you don't remember, so it's nice to get that little notification. And if you're listening on your podcast app right now, we appreciate you too. Even though you don't see our pretty face on the screen, you still listen to a beautiful voice, or at least Seth's beautiful voice. It might get annoying at time. You can give us a 5-star rating on your podcast app. That's free to do. It takes a second, and it helps the show a ton. Helps us get us in the top of the charts, and we appreciate every single one of you that does it. We're gonna see you